No paid promotions, no crazy products. I'm going to show you how to get your forks to go from this to this with just a couple simple things you can pick up from a local parts store. Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. My name is Sean. This is UCM Pigs, and today we're back out in the pig pen, and we're going to be cleaning up the forks on my 2016 Ultra Classic that I refer to as Noella May. Now, before we get started, let me remind you to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always on my channel, if you don't feel like typing words, just leave me an emoji. Let me know you're here. I greatly appreciate that. So if you're like me, I ride an well, not really an older motorcycle. I mean, she's a 2016, and it is a daily rider. My motorcycle is not a trailer princess or a weekend queen. She gets ridden pretty much every day. And with that, the front forks have gotten some wear, and you may see this as well on your bike. Now, I learned this several years ago. I bought a 2001 Sportster that at one time had been a local show bike, and then the guy kind of fell down on his luck. She kind of sat for a while. The forks got really discolored, and I did some searching on YouTube and different places, and I found out how to do this, and I did it on that bike, and it came out really well. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sanding these lower forks. These are the brushed aluminum, stock forks that come on a lot of Harley Davidsons. And I'll be using some various sandpapers. I'll show you in a minute how I'll be doing this. And we're basically just going to sand them down and then polish them back to their original luster. Now, with that said, these forks do have like a coating on them from the factory, and that's where you get a lot of the yellowing and discolor with age. We're going to be taking that off. We're going to be going down to the bare metal. Now, there may be some pros and cons to that. You're just going to have to pay a lot more attention to your forks and keep a good coat of polish moving forward on the forks. And just maybe do this a quick cleanup from time to time to keep them looking nice. It's a much more cost-effective option other than buying new forks for a daily rider. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting the bike up on a jack. And I always want to remind people, when you put your bike on a jack, make sure you secure it. We will be using some ratchet straps to secure the bike to the jack. I'm going to be removing the front fender, the front wheel, front fender, brake calipers, and front wheel, getting those out of the way so we can get easy access to the forks. So always refer to your shop manual for all your torque specs and how to remove this. It's a pretty simple process. I'm not going to walk you through it, but it's a few bolts, a little bit of time, and you can get this front end disassembled. So what we're going to be using in this project, like I said, is some various wet and dry sandpaper. I got these at my local automotive store, and I'm going to be starting with a heavy grit, about an 80 grit sandpaper. This is a multi-pack. You can pick these up for about $7. This one has 80, 180, 220, 320, 400, and 600. So we'll be walking ourselves down from a higher grit to a finer grit as we progress. And then the final step, we'll be using 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. This is a paint finish. You can even go higher to a polish. I decided I'm not going to go that high, and we're going to try to buff this out the best we can, and we're just going to be using some water. So we're going to do some wet sanding on this. It went pretty quick last time I did it. I do have another tool around here somewhere. Here it is. I will be using a wire brush and some of the nooks and crannies that maybe I can't get to with the sandpaper, just to get some of the corrosion and stuff out of there as well. And we might just speed up some of the footage. I'm going to show you guys how to do this, and more importantly, show you the end result. So let's get to that. All right, so I have a fender tip light, and there's a wire that runs up into the fairing down to the fender tip light. I really don't feel like disassembling my fairing today to unplug that. So if you notice, I've got my fender kind of Over here to the side, it's secure. It's kind of hanging on my highway peg. It's out of my way so I can do what I need to do. So yeah, if you have a fender tip light, you might want to keep that in mind. Whenever you have your brake calipers removed from the bike, it's always a good idea to zip tie them up away. That way they're not swinging around. And then my ABS sensor I've got tucked up in there above my highway bar. So I'm ready to start sanding these forks down. All right, so what I've done is I've cut my sandpaper in a little strip here. We're gonna start with the 80 grit. We're gonna start down here in the lower fork. This is the worst area because I may not use 80 up here. I may start at 180. Down here at the lower fork, it's ate up pretty good, a lot of corrosion. So we're gonna start at a heavier grit. We're gonna go ahead and spritz some water on here. We're gonna wrap this around the fork, and we're just going to do some sanding. All right, so that's after 1,000. As you can see, there's already a significant difference between that one and that one. Big difference. Now, there are still a few fine scratches in there, so I might take it on up to a 1,500, 2,000. I'm not going to sit here and record that. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off, work the upper portion of the fork. Probably going to start with a 180 instead of going to an 80 because this one's not too bad. There's a couple spots right up in here, and then over here there's a couple spots. So we'll get the rest of this taken down nice and smooth, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're all done. All right, so there you have it. There's the finished product. Significant improvement, as you can see. Luckily, a lot of the imperfections were in that coating that was on the forks, not really pitted into the actual metal. On the other side, there's a few spots that are still a little dark. There was just a little bit of pitting, but this side came out fantastic. I used a polish afterwards. We'll talk a little bit more about the polish, and we'll close out this video. So let's do, we'll put a little side by side in here or something like that where you guys can see the difference between before and after. Like I said, I think it is a significant improvement. All right, so as I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the polish. I know I said this wasn't going to be a product video, but I use Neverdol, and if you've never heard of Neverdol, they have it at, Advanced Auto Parts store, marine stores, stuff like that. I learned about Neverdol in the Navy, and what Neverdol is it is a polish for metal. It is like a cotton wadding. You pull out a piece of this cotton wadding, and it's got some chemicals on it, and you work it into whatever metal you're shining. We used to use this on the brass on a ship. So if you're not familiar with naval ships, a lot of brass and salt water and brass do not really work well together. We get a lot of verdigris, and this stuff will just eat it away, and it'll make that brass really, really shine. There are people out there that are artists when it comes to Neverdol and shining brass. So I didn't record how to use it. Like I said, it's a wadding. Just get you a little piece of wadding, and you just work the metal. You just constantly work in circular motion. The more you work, you'll see it gets dirty. It starts turning black, and you'll get a black residue or a haze on the metal. Keep working it. You work it until you just feel comfortable with it. And usually what I do is when it's really covered with the black haze, I stop, let it dry just a little bit, and then polish it off with a soft cloth, piece of cotton, something like that. I just have like a tore up pair of sweatpants, and I polished it afterwards. So get you a can of this stuff. It works great on your wheels. It works great on chrome. It's fantastic stuff, and it does leave a finish on there, like a protective finish, to keep from the elements and stuff like that until you need to touch it up again with some Neverdol. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you found it informative. If you're in the same situation as me, you have a set of forks that are showing a little bit of wear, a little bit of age. Not really a show bike, a daily rider. It does. So I went all the way up to about a 2000 grit sandpaper. You can still kind of see some lines in there, but it gave it kind of a brushed aluminum look, which I like. So you could go down finer than that if you wanted to, go down to a really fine polishing emery cloth. But I think 2000 worked good for me. Like I said, I started at 80 and just worked my way up to a 2000. Probably took me a couple hours, maybe an hour for each fork to do this. So a little bit of water, a little bit of elbow grease, and a little bit of Neverdol. So that's it for this week. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed. And until we talk again, you guys be careful. You guys be safe. Always keep your shiny side up. And we'll talk to you next time.